Okay, welcome. This is Said Ahmed from Toronto. So I was just checking something. So that's what will be shared, right? So I was just checking something on Python document string. So that's what I will be sharing in this. So what is document string, right? Let's see. One thing is coding style, right? Coding style. You write comment and all those things, but you can write some description about your code, right? You can write some description about your code and give some information about your functions and all those things. You can do it as part of a doc string. Doc string is part of commenting, and I believe the built-in function methods, those are, you see some description about them. Those also come from the doc string. At this point, if you look at the screen, you can see that addition, doc, addition. I think this is some doc string that I created, right? Addition method. You can see the addition method here and corresponding document string here. So it shows the corresponding. So in this video, I'll just show how to do it, right? By this time, already saw how to do it. Let's see. Okay, built-in doc string. Okay, I believe I started it randomly without defining it much, right? So doc string, right? Let's say doc string is for the documentation purpose, right? To help other developers or for your as a reference jobs that you can check back your code and see what it is that others can see it. It also have some other purpose if you changes your code. Okay, let's not go there, right? Let's see. Okay, so we know that there is a function called input. Let's see if this works or not, right? Yeah, I think this syntax, it actually gives you the description of the documentation that input method has. Okay, so this is the input, read a string from a string. This is the documentation for input, right? So it is built in, it comes as part of the Python itself. It asks something from the user, right? So this is the documentation for input. If I am so okay, it is giving information about the print, right? It is giving information about print. Now, what would I do? Let's see addition, right? I wrote a addition function. Okay. So I put the description of the addition function within these, I think double quotes. Sorry, double quotes three times double quote. Okay. Okay, so this function will add two number. Okay, this function adds two numbers. Okay, so it takes two parameters. Okay. আমি ভিডিও করতেছি okay. So addition, so it is returning x plus y, so this is the documentation, right? Now if you see, let's run it. You can see, right? this function is this documentation. You can see it, right? So if you just hover over, it does it. But if you want to see this one, print addition doc, let's comment it out. Let's comment it out. Now in the here, let's first clear all. So it gives you the documentation, right? So that's what this video is about. I'm just checking on it, right? Checking on it because I actually will need to show it to some. We need to show these to some, so that's why I'm just okay. Let me see. Sometimes you can also keep some checking on the documentation itself as well. See if your function is working well or not, right? So let's see. You kept your documentation and then you give some example function call and the corresponding output. Now, if you change the method, but if you do not change the documentation description and the corresponding method call inside, now if they give wrong output, then expected, so you know something has happened, right? Then you need to you can update your documentation, right? Update your documentation. It is just forcing you to update your documentation. That's another way of seeing it, right? Let's see. Here I'm calculating the factorial, right? I'm calculating the factorial. So when I first wrote this factorial function, actually this is part of the documentation. Let's see what it is saying. I can also see this is the sample call of the function and this is sample output. This is the call factorial and these are the corresponding outputs, right? Now at one point it can happen that I change the code, but I do not change the documentation, right? So it can happen by changing will not make things working. That way this will fail the test. If you wrote some tests, so that will fail, then you know that we did not update the documentation well. Okay, let's see. Don't go to this complicated thing. Let's start with the sample. Let's say this is a factorial method. We have written this function factorial. So import math. Okay. So if I run it, I'll find factorial 5 and give the output. Let's clear the output. Okay, that's what it is supposed to do, right? Factorial. It calculates the factorial here and then gives the output. I think the proper commenting, we need proper commenting here, but that's not here, but that's not the point. We're just about the documentation related commenting. That's I put it here. Okay. Now if you go there, factorial, if you hover over, so you can see return the factorial of n. So you see it, right? You see it. So this comes here. Now, yeah, you can run it like this. Okay, you can run it like this. Okay, this is the factorial from 1 to. Okay, there's a different thing, and you can see that we can also write it this way. Let's see, factorial. You want the documentation for factorial, right? So it gives you the documentation. So okay. So you can write documentation. Hover over shows the documentation, and this underscore doc that also gives the documentation. Let's see. Now corrected. Let's see. Here we also maintained some this is the factorial. Sorry, this is the factorial function, right? This is the factorial function. The code is here. Above all, it is the documentation. In this case, the documentation, it actually also gives some example input and output, right? If you go to, especially in a Linux commands, you will see the documentation usually gives some examples and the output. So this documentation is supposed to give you the examples, right? Let's see. Factorial, right? Okay, let's see. Factorial. So let's see. This documentation also gives you the details. What is the, for some example input, what can be the example output? Sometimes let's see, if you did not update this documentation but updated the code, the documentation will be inconsistent with the code, and if even the output of your function changes, then the documentation will be showing some error, right? The error will come from the documentation. Even if you fix the code, your code works, but if the corresponding documentation is not giving the same output that your change code, but you will see some error from this function, that you will know that you need to update the function or the documentation. So that's forces you to make the documentation up to date as well, right? Let's see. In this case, let's see, actually correct doc string. Okay. Let's see, here either print. Okay, let's see, run it, right? Now, here it is. Okay, this is the one. Okay, this is the correct version. That's fine. Let's see what it tells. It says, okay, it looks like I had another file that I wrote for the explanation of this, but it looks like, which one is that one? That's probably what I'm trying to find, a little difficult to find. Anyway, let's see. So we wrote it, right? Actually, this code is okay. This code, this factorial method, that actually is okay. Okay, let's not go there. It may not be the perfect example where I told that our code changed, but documentation not got changed. So anyway, or probably yes, one time it was there, but then this may be the up-to-date code, but the documentation is old, right? We can say it this way. So the code is the most up-to-date, but the documentation was old. So what it used to be, now it changes, right? If I execute it, okay, I probably am not explaining it well, but let me see. So factorial 30, right? Factorial 30. So what it does show, expected this and we got this, right? Expected this, we got this. So factorial 30, that means this is failing, right? This is failing. In the previous documentation or in the previous version of the code, it was outputting the number with an L, right? In the recent version, it outputs without the L. That means the function changed, but the documentation we did not update that. That's why still we're getting error in execution, right? Now, what we need to do? We need to, let's update the documentation, right? In that way, we can make the documentation consistent. So, in this case, on the left side, if you see, only the error cases will come, right? Only the error cases will come. The working cases don't come. So if I run it, factorial 30 will be gone, factorial 30 that will be there. Okay, so factorial 30 gone, because factorial 30, the expected output and the given output, expected is this, right? Because this is the documentation, and whatever we got the same thing. So okay, let's say 30L, right? Factorial 30L. Factorial 30L, we told that the expected output will be this. if we give input 30, actually it's not that case. It actually this is an error, right? In the update kit, in the updated code, we don't need to supply the L, right? It probably was to there. The case probably was there in the previous code. I think that we updated. Probably 30L wasn't valid, and the corresponding output was supposed to be like this. But with our updated code updated, but documentation is not updated. That's why getting this error. Now it's time for us to fix the documentation. And before I go there, let's see what it says. What is the error actually? It is the invalid syntax, right? Invalid syntax. Invalid syntax, it comes from the function, right? The way we define the function. So let's see. So now the documentation and code will be consistent, right? So factorial 30L, that is gone. What is this one? Factorial 30. Expect factorial 30.0 expected capital L got this, right? So what is the error? Again, the 30.0. Okay, this is this one, right? Then making the documentation consistent with the code, right? Still there is one. You can see there actually is a factorial. This actually works. I think you know it, right? Python, it is giving factorials first for 1, then for 2. Okay. I think the error case was this one. Exception raised, name long is not defined, right? Name long is not defined. Let's see if I remove it. Okay, now our documentation and the code is consistent. Okay, that's what it was about. Okay, I actually will need to take care of another thing, or at least I need to inform something to others. Then I probably can come back. But before that, let's see. Okay, I need to take a little bit of break for a couple of seconds, less than a minute. আচ্ছা, তোমাদের একটা ডেলিভারি করছে, দেখো কোথায়? আচ্ছা। Okay, there was a delivery, so okay, that is that one. Okay, let me see what else is there. If I want to built-in doc string, I showed that. Yeah, just because these are in the example, but it does not mean that we are executing it, right? Okay, let's see. Does it have an error? No, it doesn't have an error. Now we can say if our factorial method works as per documentation. Let's try this one. And try this one, right? Let's put some breakpoints so that debug. Okay, so I want to go to the execute this statement. Okay, it just going through this thing. I did not want to get inside, but it went anyway. So on the console, factorial 5. Okay, the thing is, it actually did not print it, right? Because it did not print it, we can print it here. Then we can print it here, and then we can print it here, right? I can just stop debugging. Let's now run it. Okay, why it is not giving me the output? Test results, processing finished. Okay, 120, this is coming from factorial 5. This one is coming from here. This error, this actually is coming from the error checking or input checking inside it, right? Okay, we want the exact integer. Now it will run. Okay, let me see what is this that I am missing here. Okay, so I check this. Yes, I explained this. You could also keep it like this if you want to give some examples. Addition 5, 4, 9, right? Let's run this. So let's say if I try to give it 10, that means our documentation and the code got. Okay, that probably some syntax related thing. Okay, let's see 10, 5, 4. Usually it's better. Okay. So let's see. So the expected output is 10 as per our definition, our example. But yeah, our code is corrected. I believe we can see like this. Let's see. This used to be the previous documentation, and previous code was doing it wrong, but we still kept the code and kept the documentation. Now we updated our code, but the documentation did not get updated, right? This just shows that, okay, still the code got updated, code got fixed, but the documentation is still the old. So what we can do, because it is showing some error, it is not executing, so we need to fix it, right? Expected 10 got 9, but we know that our code is right. So in that case, the error actually was in the documentation. So documentation becomes active here. It's not that just documentation, you just comment, it does not do anything. Yes, it does do something now, right? Okay. Anyway, that's all for this video. Yeah, as I told, I am checking on it because I need to show it to someone. So